Hello student. So after completion of the pharynx, let's start the remaining part of the digestive tract or the alimentary canal, that is from esophagus to the rectum and the anal canal. So before starting this part, we should know or we must know that is the basic structure of all the alimentary canal. So the wall of the alimentary canal, it is made by the four layers, that is from outer to inner side. Outer side, that is made from the adventitia. Then the next layer, that is the muscular layer, which is made from the smooth muscle. Then the third layer, that is the submucosal layer, which consists of mostly the connective tissue. And the innermost layer, that is the mucus layer, which consists of the epithelial tissue. So let's start, that is the adventitia. So the adventitia, or that is the outermost covering of the digestive tract, and into the thorax, that should be made by the loose fibrous tissue, and in abdomen it is made by a serous membrane, that is called the peritoneum. So let's see the detailed structure of the peritoneum. So here in this diagram you can see that is the digestive tract or the GIT, and it is it is made by the four layer. Outer membrane, that is the adventitia or the serous membrane. Second layer, that is the muscle layer. Third layer, that is the submucosal layer, and the fourth layer, that is the mucosal layer. So let's see first, that is the adventitia or the outer covering of the digestive tract. So in the thorax, it is made by the loose fibrous tissue, and into the abdominal organ, it is covered by the serous membrane. It is called the peritoneum. So here you can see that is the diaphragm, and below to the diaphragm, that is the total abdominal cavity, this one. So that is the most of digestive organ, they are present into that the abdominal cavity, and they are covered by the serous membrane. So this is called the peritoneal membrane or the peritoneum. Here you can see. Okay. So the peritoneum, it is the largest serous membrane of the body and consists of the closed sac containing small amount of the serous fluid. It consists of the parietal layer and the visceral layer. So parietal layer, that is the outermost layer, here you can see, which is attached to the anterior abdominal wall, and the visceral layer, this one, that is very much adherent to that the organ, this one. Okay. Then the functions of the peritoneum. So first function, that is it is help for the movement of the viscera. So that is the main important function. Second one, that is the function of the peritoneum, that is protection of the viscera, because the peritoneum contains various phagocytic cell which guard against the infection, and also the lymphatics are present, which is also help or increase to immunological defense mechanism. Then the third function of the peritoneum, that is the absorption and the dialysis. Fourth function, that is the healing power and the adhesions. So as the mesothelial cells of the peritoneum can transfer into the fibroblast, which promote the healing of the wound. And the last one, that is the storage of the fat, that is the peritoneal folds are capable of storage of large amount of the fat. So these are the functions which is done by the peritoneum. Okay. Next to it, we should have to see, that is the peritoneal folds. So according to that the different organ, that the peritoneum, it should be forming the folds of the peritoneum, and the folds, it should be gives the different name. So firstly, we should have to see that is how that the peritoneal layer, that is the parietal and the visceral layer, that should be covered the organs. So here in this diagram you can see, that is the organ is present, this one, and that is the visceral layer, which is very much adherent to that the organ, and this is the parietal layer, which is posterior to that the anterior abdominal wall, and these two layer posteriorly, that should be attached with each other to that the posterior abdominal wall. Okay. So here in this way, that is the organ or the visceral organ, it should be invaginated by the peritoneal fold. So let's see first, that is the stomach. So here the stomach is totally invaginated by the double fold of the peritoneum, that is the lesser sac and the greater sac of the peritoneum, and it is attached the greater curvature of the stomach and forming that the extension in this way. So it is called the greater omentum, this one. This greater omentum consists of the number of fatty tissue and the lymphatics. Same like this at the region of the lesser curvature, this one, that is the both layer, that is the greater sac and the lesser sac, they should be joined to forming that the lesser curvature of the stomach to forming the lesser omentum, and this lesser omentum, it is other part of the lesser omentum, it is attached to the porta hepatis of the liver. Okay. After then we should have to see, that is the relations of the peritoneum with the liver. So here in this diagram you can see both diagram, that is the superior surface of the liver and that is the posterior surface of the liver. So the liver, it should be mostly invaginated by the peritoneal fold. So here in this diagram you can see this one, this is the liver, and it is totally invaginated by the lesser sac and the greater sac of the liver, and it should be forming the folds of the peritoneum, that is called the ligaments. So here in this diagram you can see, that is the two sides, the folds of the peritoneum, that should be attached with each other and forming the ligament. So anterior surface, it should be forming the ligament, that is called the falciform ligament. Then on the right lobe and the left lobe, it should be forming that the triangular structure or the ligament, it is called the right and left triangular ligament, which is seen on the posterior surface also. So here left side, that is the left triangular ligament, and on the right side it should be formed the right triangular ligament. Then apart from this, it should be forming again two ligament, this one, that is the upper border, it is called superior coronary ligament, and in the lower side it should be forming the inferior coronary ligament, this one. After then the small intestine. So small intestine, that is also totally invaginated by the peritoneal layer. So here in this diagram you can see this is the small intestine. In this diagram you can see, that is the small intestine, this one. So that is the small intestine, that is totally invaginated by the peritoneal fold, and posteriorly it is attached to the posterior abdominal wall. So this fold which covered that the small intestine, it is called the mesentery. So mesentery, here you can see in the another diagram also, this is the part of small intestine which is invaginated by the peritoneal membrane, and that is attached to the posterior abdominal wall. So that is called the mesentery, this one. Okay. After then, that is the large intestine, that is the part of the large intestine, that is the transverse colon and the sigmoid colon, that is also covered by the peritoneal fold, and it should be forming the covering of the peritoneal fold, that is called the mesocolon. So here in this diagram you can see, that is the sigmoid colon, and here that is the transverse colon. So that is totally invaginated by the peritoneal fold, this one, and it is attached, the peritoneal fold, that is attached posteriorly to that the posterior abdominal wall. So here you can see, that is the posterior abdominal wall. So here that the part of the peritoneum or the fold of the peritoneum, that should be attached. So it is called the mesocolon. So not all the part of the colon, that is the ascending transverse colon, descending sigmoid colon. So only that is the part of the transverse colon and the sigmoid colon that is only covered by that is the layer of the peritoneum. So here in this diagram you can see this one, that is the transverse colon. It is covered by the peritoneal fold and it is called the transverse mesocolon, this one. And second one here you can see that is the sigmoid colon, which is also covered by the peritoneal fold and it is attached to the posterior triangular fold of the peritoneum and that is attached to the pelvic wall. So this is called the sigmoid mesocolon. After then, that is the part of the appendix that is also attached by the fold of the peritoneum and that is attached to the posterior abdominal wall with the mesentery of the small intestine. So here in this diagram you can see that is the appendix, this one, and this is the mesentery of the small intestine here. So with this fold of the mesentery, the part of the appendix that should be attached. So it is called the mesoappendix, this one. Then apart from this organ, some organs which is only anteriorly covered by the peritoneal membrane or the peritoneal fold. So here you can see that is the peritoneal covering and that is only anteriorly covered. This is the pancreas, this is the third part of the duodenum, then the kidneys, suprarenal gland and the spleen. So these organs, they are only anteriorly covered by the peritoneal fold. So these organ that is called the retroperitoneal organ because these organ they are present posterior to that the peritoneal layer. So these organ is called the retroperitoneal organ. Then the pelvic organ which is present into the pelvis that is only superiorly covered by the peritoneal folds. So here if you can consider it is the female pelvis, so that is the rectum, this is the uterus and this is the urinary bladder. So between that is the uterus and the rectum, it should be forming that is the double fold of the peritoneal membrane. Okay? So this double fold of the peritoneal membrane, it is called the rectouterine pouch or the pouch of Douglas. Okay? Then second one, that is the double fold of the peritoneal membrane that should be present between that the uterus and the urinary bladder. This one, that the double fold of the peritoneal membrane, it is called the rectovesical pouch, this one. And in the male that the uterus is absent, so only single fold of the peritoneum that should be present. So that is called the rectovesical pouch. Okay? So that is the peritoneal folds. So in this way, that is the different peritoneal folds, they are present in relation with the different abdominal organs. And all the abdominal organs, they are covered by the visceral layer of the peritoneum, and posterior to that the anterior abdominal wall that is covered by that is the parietal layer, this one. So between that the two layer, that is the visceral layer and the parietal layer, there is presence that the potential space, and this potential space that is filled with the serous fluid which is secreted by the mesoendothelial cells of the serous layer or the visceral layer of that the peritoneum, this one. And this serous fluid that should be avoid the friction between that the two layers, and because of this the potential space and the visceral layer that is help for the different movements of the visceral organs. So that is the peritoneum. After then, this is the outermost layer, that is the outer layer of that the digestive tract. That is, after then we should have to see the second layer, that is the muscular layer. So muscular layer, it consists of the two layers, that is the smooth muscle layer. So outer layer that is made by the longitudinal muscular coat, and the inner layer that is made by the circular muscular coat. So between that the two layers, the blood vessels, lymph vessels, and the network of the nerves, that means the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nerves, they are present. The muscle contraction and the relaxation, that is called the peristaltic movement, these are done by because of that. So the muscle contraction and the relaxation, it is called the peristaltic movement, and this can occurs the mixing of digestive juices into the present fluid, and onward movement of that the content are controlled at various places by the sphincter, and the sphincters, they are made by the circular muscular layer. In some region that the circular muscular layer, they are very much thick and forming that the sphincter like structure. Okay. After then we should have to see that is the submucosal layer. So it consists of the loose connective tissue, and within this layer the vessels, nerves, lymph vessels, and various amount of the lymphoid tissue are present. The blood vessels consist of the arterioles, venules, and the capillaries. After then the innermost layer, that is the mucosa. So the mucosa consists of, or it is made by the three layers. So innermost layer, that is the mucous membrane. So mucous membrane, it is the innermost layer which is formed by the columnar epithelial cell, and the functions of that is the mucous membrane, that is the protection, secretion, and the absorption. Then the second layer, that is the lamina propria. So it is made by the loose connective tissue which support the blood vessels that nourishes the inner epithelial cells, and various amount of the lymphatic tissue that have or the work of the protective function. And the outermost layer of the mucous membrane, that is the muscularis mucosa. So this is the outer layer which is made by the smooth muscle that provide the individual of the mucosal layer, that is the gastric glands and the villi that should be present into this layer. So that is the mucosa have the great wear and tear property, and because of this stratified squamous epithelial cells, as that consist of the stratified squamous epithelial cell, so it prevents and consists the mucus secreting glands which keeps the food soft and the moist. The mucus secretion lubricates the wall of the tract and protects the digestive enzymes. Below the surface, it is lined by the columnar epithelial cell, which are the collection of specialized cells or the glands which secrete the secretion of the digestive juices into the tract, and also it consists of the lymphoid tissue. So in this way, that is the four layer of the digestive tract that should be present. So outermost layer, that is the adventitia, second layer, that is the muscle layer, third layer, that is the submucous layer, and the innermost layer, that is the mucosal layer.